Hi guys, how are you doing? Hope all is well with you. Uh, Today I actually wanted to talk about hobbies, but figured that why not I just continue on my mini series that I was doing, right? The one about disability. So in part one, um, I talked about the period that I went through school growing up and all that. Then 2 weeks ago in part two, I talked about the experience I had as a national athlete, um, a one-off experience. Yeah, as a national footballer with the cerebral palsy team. So this week I thought I would talk about um, jobs, or rather the challenges that I face finding work, um, not just because of COVID, but even the time before that. So yeah, let's go. So the first thing that I would like to say is that I understand that regardless of whether you have a disability or not, um, job hunting is something that's not easy to do. Um, yeah, can be due to the economy, or maybe the skill set, or maybe the culture. Yeah, when you read newspaper, and then newspaper always tell you like, oh, graduates cannot find jobs, and yeah, and all that. Then yeah, so at different times, it will tell you like, oh, skills are more important than academics. Then you'll be like, okay, then I go and pick up skills, and then the next time turn around and then say that academics are just as important. So you see a lot of people with degrees nowadays, and yeah, like I said, it's not just about COVID-19, but in general I understand that it's hard to find work lah. So yeah, um, for me, I actually so my school pathway was something, I would say, um, you know I dropped out of school uh, in 2006 due to sickness, and then 6 years later I went back to do my private candidate O levels. um, Initially, remember I shared about the football thing. Yeah, then I thought, hey, after I finish my O levels, maybe I can uh, go back and play football. Then yeah, eh, I joined the team for the UAE trip. Then I went back to school, and even though at various times, from the time I was studying from my O levels up to the time I was doing my diploma in 2013, then I was like, okay, after my diploma I'll go back, but I never did lah, as you can see now. So moving on, yeah, so went to school, got my degree, graduated in 2016. um I got my first job interview, I think maybe 1 month or 1.5 months later. But at that time, um, it was something very new to me. So I just, I just go, you dress up, and you go, uh, you face the interview, and then it's like yeah lah, I just had a bit of what you call stage fright, I guess. It's just like you face the interviewer, and truth be told, right, I I just wasn't prepared, I guess. Yeah, and the thing is, the interviewer was actually younger than me. Yeah, the company that I was trying to join was actually like a startup lah. Yeah, at that time, just to do admin work. Now, why admin? Um, some might ask is okay. So basically, with my disability, right? Um, I've sort of always been told that, you know, at that time anyway, that, getting a job is of utmost importance. And I mean, in every industry, and literally every industry, you will need an admin staff. Sorry, I was looking out to see the, yeah. So if that company needs admin staff, then they will post it, then you will go and apply for it. So it's like, it's your first job, and you just want to, at least for me lah, just want to get experience for it. Yeah, but unfortunately at that time I just went in there. um, you know um, the person looked at my resume, saw that I had a degree in mass comm, and then was like, why are you coming in to do admin? Then I was like, you know because I'm trained in admin. And then so you you start to realize that, hey, questions are coming. And I still remember that at that time, um, as the interviewer started to rattle off the job scope, the more the person the more she rattled off the job scope, the lower my head went. So it was like duh, 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 duh. And it's like, then when she finished, right, then my head was literally on the table. It's like, then you realize, oh shit, this is gonna be so overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously I didn't pass the interview. um, yeah, so that was my very first one, I remember. Subsequently, I went for many different ones lah, all of them were for admin roles. Yeah. I In fact, during that time of the job search, right, I probably, like, that was the first time you actually learn that, yes, having a workplace near to you is good, but the fact of the matter is that you still have to travel for work anyway, right? I stay in the south. uh, Initially, I had interest in computers, so I picked up IT. And then I went all the way to Changi Business Park for an interview. Didn't pass that interview either. I went to the CBD, uh, to yeah, for an interview. Didn't pass that interview either. And the thing is, so some interviews, like the first interview I mentioned, it was a case of me being overwhelmed by the job description when it was elaborated. The one at Changi Business Park was a case of, because it's IT, right? IT role, so support desktop engineer. So they ask you, can you do this? Can you do that? It's not a question of can you, it's what happens when this situation arises, like how would you troubleshoot it? And because you are the engineer, right? So you are supposed to be working on your own, and at most you have one other person. In fact, if you do have one other person working with you, that's already a bonus. The IT industry, the technical side is like that. So then I went there, I had taken a course. Then I went there, and when he asked me the questions, and I couldn't answer, so that went. Then I went for an interview in the CBD. printing company. This one, another case of not being prepared, not being very prepared, put it that way. First of all, when you go in, the dress code, you feel underdressed. So basically for me, right, of course right now I know that you don't do that, but normally like for interview, what I would do is I would honestly rarely dress in formal wear. Not that I would dress in my home wear, but more of like I would have long pants accompanied by a polo t-shirt. Yeah, so that was what I would normally wear to interviews lah. And of course later on I learned that formal wear is the way to go lah. Regardless of where you're interviewing for, honestly. Yeah, so I went for the interview at the printing company. Sometimes you don't need to know that people are not hiring you. You just know that you have to read between the lines lah, the kind of questions that people are asking you. Then you will know that this company is not going to hire you. So so that was that. And then speaking about the dressing part, so later on I had another interview. This time around it was also at the south side, but more towards the western side. So it was at Pioneer, right? It was a shipping company, and again another admin, and this time round, having learned that formal wear was the way to go, whoa, I really, like, not say I dressed up maximum, but more of like, long sleeve shirt lah, long pants lah, hair well done. And I went there, shipyard, the shipping company shipyard, and go in there. Then the interviewer look at me, I look at the interviewer. The interviewer is like, if you ever work for us, next time you don't need to come like that lah. You just wear polo tee and trousers, good enough. And I was like, huh? Yeah. So then of course then you learn that every different company has a different style of dress code. Yeah. So yeah, that so that was another one. One of the things that sort of like disappointed me along the way wasn't really the rejections in interviews, because at that time I know that I had confidence issues looking for work and all that, but more of like the kind of expectation that as somebody who thought that you had the help that you need, and then end up that the help that you got is something that sometimes some people won't tell you directly, but I got a case where I was told directly that the help was. So just let me go into another story. So what happened was, so I graduated, then I'm part of this. Okay, first of all, disclaimer, before I continue, I want to say that what I'm going to share is all based on experience and it's a fact. Okay, I'm not trying to exaggerate or anything. This actually happened, right? And this video here is not made to complain against the people that I'm going to talk about or what, but it's more of like, just to raise the awareness that yes, such things do happen, but again, it's all about experience lah. Yeah. So anyway, uh, so in 2016 I graduated. After which I went to um, SPD. Back then it was called Society for Physically Disabled. Then they shortened it to SPD. I had been assigned a job coach over there. And so, of course, with job coaches, what they would normally do is you give them your profile, then they will help you to find a job. Yeah, so the profile that I had was that I had graduated with a comms degree lah. But that the organization is geared more towards just finding their clients a job, so more for admin role and all that. Okay, sorry for the interruption, I had a call. Yeah, so what happened was that okay, so understandable, right? You want to put your clients into a job, and so at that time I just took the resume that was written for me, and I went to apply. I got an interview, and I went there, and the interviewer looked at my resume and looked at me, and my dad feels that I'm exaggerating this, but let me assure you this is true. So he looked at my resume, he looked at me, then he asked me, so what can you do, or something to that effect. Okay, he was saying like, he was saying, your resume show me that you know Microsoft Office, but the thing is that as an admin staff, that is the very basic that you should know, right? That's the very basic that you should know. And thing is, so basically he was trying to tell me that nothing really stands out, right? And then he told me very straightforwardly, you know something, your resume is shit. Like I look at this resume and it's like, so he just shook his head, and then he told me very straightforwardly, he said, because I told him, it's like, oh, my job coach helped me to write this. Then he was very straightforward. He was just like, if your job coach come and apply for this position, I will not hire that person. Then I was like, whoa. yeah so then this really got me thinking, because if you read stuff online, and a lot of the times people who how to say it, you read things like people fail to secure a job, don't know how many times. But I would be interested to know, if anybody is out there, share with me, please. Anybody is out there, you went for an interview and the person took your resume and literally like threw it at you. Okay, when I say throw it at me, I don't mean like throw it straight in my face, but more of like he looked at it, then he just dumped it on the table, and then he's like, this resume is shit. Yeah. So I would like to know. So please share with me if you ever gone through this experience, because this was something that, wow, at that time I was like, what? Yeah, so I just froze, and I didn't know what to do lah, because it's like, this is given to me by a job coach, like someone who's supposed to help me find a job. And then, he even told me, you can use this resume to go and find a job. Then I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. So I went, and then this particular company just, the guy just gave it to me straight off. And after that, then from then on, then I really knew I had to brush up. Come about just recently, yeah, not say recently lah, about 2 years. Yeah. So 2 years ago, I went for a career counseling, like a seminar lah, where he said that it's under the SG Enable umbrella. Yeah. And then they said that they have this Bryce mentorship program. Yeah, so I went for that. And so I was assigned a mentor. And of course, because it's job mentorship, so at that time, because this mentorship program is meant mostly for people who just fresh grad, and but then for me, because I'm really looking for work, so me and my mentor, we just skipped over all that stuff and just went straight for, okay, how I want to look at your resume and your interviewing skills and all that. Now, so I mailed him 2 versions of my resume. The first version was the version given to me by my then job coach. Now my job coach has changed. Yeah, but my then job coach, and he looked at it and he just shook his head lah. I cannot make it. Then the second version which I mailed him, which is the one I'm actually using now. Yeah, that one slightly better lah. Yeah, it's more. Yeah, I might actually attach something around here. Yeah. So I mean, I'll attach the 2 different copies, and if you see for yourself lah. You see for yourself the difference. And yeah, and so me going through, talk to him, the career coach, so we just went straight to it. Then he taught me about interviewing skills, keeping eye contact and all that. Yeah. So thankfully, around the 2018, end of 2018, I managed to find work. Unfortunately, because due to COVID, I've had to take a step back, and instead go for the writing course. Yeah. But for about how long? Yeah. So in 2018, I managed to find a job, social enterprise, hires people with disabilities, and from there, for the next 1 year or so, I managed to pick up some, customer service and F&B skills. And unfortunately, due to COVID, the work for me was curtailed. Yeah, so just recently decided that pursuing a different course, different direction might be the best way to go. That one I don't want to go into too much detail, but basically, yeah. So what I'm trying to share, what I've been trying to share for the past like 20 minutes or so is that, you know, I understand that finding work is difficult, regardless of whether you are a graduate or, you know, disabled, not disabled, you know, all that. But you know, with sometimes it's like you don't. I would say lah, okay, um, that first of all, if you are looking for work, don't underestimate uh, the job market, in a sense that some people think that, hey, you know, because I've studied of a certain level, then I should be able to aim for this certain kind of job, especially if you are new. I can't speak for those mid-career or even late career people, but you know, new fresh grad, you know, if you are a new fresh grad and then you think, oh, because I'm a graduate and then this job is not up to or I'm overqualified for this job, and therefore I won't take it and instead wait for something better. My advice to you is that yeah, don't, especially at this time of COVID-19, you know, where if you are able to secure yourself a job, you know, a stable job that is able to, you know, give you a regular salary, then I would suggest that you go for it first and wait for further chances. Okay, now then of course you will ask, yeah, then how about you, right? How come you left your... Okay, just to make things clear, at that time when I decided to step away, was because the work for me was not forthcoming, and because I was a part-time cafe staff, and you know, due to phase 2 and circuit breaker and all that, and cafe work was not forthcoming. And when the opportunity for the SGUS came out, then it actually took me a while to consider, and decided I even went to, you know, I told my damn boss, I said, you know, I'm going for this course. And yeah, so that's where, because the SGUS course is a full-time course, so we decided that it's better that I moment step away from work and, you know, focus on the writing course. Yeah, so maybe I can chart a new direction for myself, or yeah, just be able to be a better contributor should I go back. So that is something I want to make clear first, okay, before people start to think like, wow, you advise people to go and then you yourself go and leave a job. Yeah, so I want to say that as someone with a disability, I would just want to say that, you know, I've said this before and I've said this again. Give people a chance. You know, hiring managers, yeah, give people a chance. You never know. They might perform up their expectations or even beyond. Okay, but anyway, I've already been talking for quite a while. This is what I wanted to share. I believe that everybody has their different experiences when it comes to looking for a job. If you are watching this video, I appreciate if you can share your experience as well, and we can learn from each other. Yeah, so I don't know when will be the next time I upload after this last one comes out, but yeah, just see you again soon. Bye.